Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Jonathan, and today I'm bringing you a video talking about the GI Bill in the military. So, I'm not like a subject expert on this at all. In fact, I feel like a lot of people in the Air Force and in the military in general aren't subject matter experts on this, just because there's so much information based off of what direction you go and how you use the money and all sorts of stuff like that, right? Like, there's so many moving parts and factors in the GI Bill and education and stuff like that it's really hard to have a complete understanding of all of it. Plus, a lot of things in the military admittedly are kind of confusing with finance and just everything in the military. Like, there's always like different avenues for everything, right? So it gets really confusing, and when you join and stuff, you'll start to understand that more. It's not like everything is just super laid out in front of you. Now, the basics are, but when you start to get in depth with stuff like this, it gets kind of iffy, which is why there are education centers on the base. So pretty much, I'm pretty sure every Air Force base and probably every Army base, or whatever the case may be, is going to have some sort of education center that you can go to, and they have civilians or whoever may be working in these facilities, and you can go talk to them like, this is what I want to do. Like, your spouse can go talk to them, your kids, if you have kids that are old enough to go to school. There are tons of opportunities for pretty much every type of person across the spectrum, and it's pretty awesome. So I'm going to jump into this from what I have an understanding for, just to give you a basic rundown. I'm going to try to explain it better than my recruiter did, because when he explained it to me, there was a lot that I learned in BMT versus learning beforehand. And so this video is to kind of put that information out there so you might have a better understanding of things before you go in, so that when you go in, you don't have to worry about the basics. You can just kind of pick what you want to do, right? Because that's what it comes down to, is you have the Montgomery GI Bill and the post 9/11 GI Bill. So the Montgomery GI Bill is basically going to school while you're in the military. So I don't know how the other branches are. I'm pretty sure that this is federal, so I'm pretty sure every branch gets this, but active duty in the Air Force gets like $4,500 a year for themselves to go to school and to get certifications and all sorts of stuff like that. So that is a plus to the Montgomery GI Bill. So you can go to school with that money, but $4,500 isn't a lot of. It's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money to kind of like go for a whole degree and stuff, which is where the Montgomery is going to come in. I know you're probably like, oh, if it's not about the Montgomery GI Bill, why'd you say that? But it's nice to know, because I had no idea. They didn't tell us this in BMT. My recruiter didn't tell me this. I actually didn't find out about it until I got to this base. So after like 6 or 7 months of being in the military, I didn't even know that I had $4,500 waiting for me so that I can go get certifications and go do this and that, right? So it's honestly kind of crazy. But basically, the Montgomery GI Bill, like I said, is to go to school while you're in the military. And based off of what I've read and heard, is that you can't really start using it until you've been in for 2 years. I don't know how accurate that is, but I'm pretty sure, based off of some other people that I've worked with, that it is kind of accurate. But the kicker for me on this, right, I already made my mind up before I joined. Like, okay, I want to use the post 9/11 GI Bill, and this is why. I'm going to get into that in a second, but the reason I didn't like the Montgomery GI Bill is because the first year you have to commit to giving them $100 from your paycheck every month just to kind of get it started. I don't know what it's for. I don't think you ever see that money again. I guess you kind of do later when you go to school. But like with the post 9/11 GI Bill, you don't have to do any of that. You just get the money when you get out, basically. So, or at least when you go to school with it, right? So I could not have, there's no way that I could have afforded giving them $100 a month out of my paycheck for a whole year when I first joined the military. Plus, like, I don't want to go to school while I'm in the military. I want to use like the CCAF, like the Community College of the Air Force, to get that associates for my career field. And then if I want to go to school, which I really don't because I hate school, if I want to go to school later when I get out of the military, then I can use the post 9/11. But I don't see a reason myself for using the Montgomery GI Bill, and I really don't like that they take that $100. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm sure it makes sense, but I don't know what that is. So that, plus on top of the fact that I didn't even want to go to school I'm in, just kind of equaled out to be the post 9/11. And I wanted to do that before I joined anyways, before I even knew about them taking 100. And the way that I learned about that, right, is because in BMT you have like a class or like a brief or something, and they explain this all to you. And then at the end of it, like, everybody is automatically enrolled into the Montgomery GI Bill. So they're gonna start taking the money from you regardless of if you want it or not. But the option that you have is to disenroll from the Montgomery GI Bill. And the problem with that is that you can't re-enroll into the Montgomery GI Bill if you change your mind. Like, it has to be right when you get in. They'll take $100 for a year every month, and then you can continue with whatever you were gonna do. But if you don't want them to do that, you have to disenroll. So I disenrolled because I already knew, again, like I said, I wanted to go with the post 9/11 route. And yeah, so that's kind of how I learned about it. Otherwise, I had no idea before I joined. But you get like 36,000 while you're in, or something like that, and then you can actually go to school. So it's logical for people who are going to stay in the military and re-enlist and do a bunch of stuff with that. But I'm like 4 and done type of person. Like, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, how many years I wanted to do, and I know what I wanted to do when I'm out of the military. So this was just kind of a crutch for me. And so I know, like, at the time I did want to go to school, and now I don't want to go to school. So the thing with the post 9/11, this is like the big difference. You can't use it till you're out of the military, but once you're out, you have the money. You can use it whenever you want. I don't think there's like a year gap on it. If there is, it's probably like 10 years plus or something like that, which isn't, I mean, this is a long time, right? So it's also transferable, so you can give it to your wife, you can give it to your kids, any other spouse for that matter. And I don't know, the thing with the post 9/11 is, like, let's say you live in the middle of nowhere and you want to go to school, they will pay for you to move to the school that you want to go to while they're paying for your school. Plus, I believe you get like $1,000 a year or something for books and supplies, and they pay for your rent. If you're a full-time student, and there's like a whole credit hour type thing that's mixed in with that, but if you're a full-time student and you're using the post 9/11 GI Bill, they will pay you BAH basically, which is basic allowance for housing, right? They'll pay your rent for you up to a certain amount, just like they are for me now, which is awesome. So, like I said, I don't know any like the super specifics, and I've been told some stuff about that, like, oh, they do this amount and this amount, or this rank amount, like this pay grade amount, and there's tons of stuff mixed in there. Especially with Montgomery, I don't know a whole lot about the Montgomery because I never really looked into it, and when I was looking into it, like, it didn't really stand out to me. Like, it's basically just a way for you to go to school while you're in the military, and then post 9/11 is what you do when you're out, if you want, or if you want to give it to any other family member for that matter. So anyways, I mean, it's a super simple video. If you have any specific questions, I can try to get information for you. Just leave them down below in the comments. And if you know something that I missed and totally messed up, because like I said again, I'm not a subject matter expert about this. If you know something that I don't, please let me know so that I can be more educated about it. But I mean, this channel is not like a super educational channel, like, oh, this is the military and this is blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not like that. Like, the way I want this channel to go is I want it to be very raw, just like this is what my experiences are. Because you can sit in front of a screen and listen to somebody basically read a PowerPoint from their mind about certain information. Like, that's great and all. But when I was joining, I wanted to find videos from people who like have been through it, they've experienced it, this is the knowledge that they have straight up front. And I don't know. So I don't know how you guys feel, but that's what I was looking for, and I'm trying to give you the information that my recruiter didn't necessarily give me before I went in, because what he told me was basically like, I didn't really ask him about the Montgomery, but I was like, yo, I know that I want to use the post 9/11 because I want to use it when I get out. He's like, yeah, you can use it when you get out, and they'll even pay like BAH for you basically. And that was pretty much it. That's all I knew. So then I went in and was like, what if I don't disenroll from this? Like, in case I change my mind, they're still going to be taking $100 a month from me, which basically means that I can't do the post 9/11. I don't think you can. Yeah, so anyways, thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave your ship dates down below. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, again, thank you so much for watching, and peace out.